Hello, everybody. This is Jennifer Schaus coming to you live from Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us for our Webinar Wednesday series. We host webinars every Wednesday. They're complimentary and they're recorded. You can find those on our website under the webinar section and also on our YouTube channel. Some classes that we have coming up in 2019 include a class on January 15th for teaming, partnering, and subcontracting, and then a class on the 29th regarding GSA schedules. To get to those links, you can go to our website to the event section, and both of those classes will be listed there with live hyperlinks. We also have advertising opportunities both in our newsletter, which now reaches over 13,000 subscribers, as well as our Webinar Wednesday series for 2019. You can contact Mallory Flowers for more information and pricing. A little bit about us. We are based in downtown DC and provide professional services for government contractors, both product and service companies. Our services range from market analysis reports to GSA schedules, contract administration, and other services. Again, more information on our website. This slide here just covers my background. And on the next slide, we'll get into today's topic, which is 8 tips for marketing to the federal government. So let's dig in. This is just a short agenda. We'll go through 3 components here: the overview, the marketing basics, and then I'll wrap up with some conclusions. Okay, so the overview. Government marketing, when you think of marketing people, you're always thinking of creative, whether it's creative ideas, creative content, creative anything. And when you think of government, these are institutional people that follow the rules of federal acquisition regulation. So you're taking something that is very creative and trying to pitch it to a group that maybe perhaps is not. And obviously that's a very general statement. We obviously have people within the federal government who are innovative and creative and trying to find new ways to move forward and solve problems. But generally speaking, government marketing, what you're trying to do here is capture the attention of your target audience. Let them know who you are, and really what you want to do here, particularly with government marketing, is why would they be selecting you? Government is risk adverse, so they want somebody that has past performance, that is a subject matter expert, that knows exactly how to come in and solve the problems, and has the true capabilities, whether this is expressed through your capabilities statement, through conversation with the customer, through content on your website, and other ways. We'll get into that later. But you also want to make a lasting impression. These folks are inundated with thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of contractors trying to get their attention. So whether you're marketing to the federal government or to the prime contractors to be a subcontractor, you want to make sure that they remember you. And a lot of times it is going to come down to maybe not so much the creative, but really just expressing that you are that subject matter expert. So make it easy for them to remember you and to know what you do. You can't be all things to all people. But in other words, you really want to identify what it is, like a child, identify what is their problem. You've got to come up with a solution, get that solution actually to them, whether that's through a contract vehicle, a set aside, some way that they can contract with you. And then you've got to do a good job once you've got the contract of implementing the solution. So basically, you've got to do it all. You've got to stay abreast of the problems that they face by reading publications, attending industry events, joining associations and organizations that are related to both your industry as well as federal government. So here's some tips. Number 1, you want to be specific and not general regarding your offering, meaning you can't be all things to all people. So know what you do well and then just do it well. Be that subject matter expert and the person that the government looks to when they are getting ready to implement a new IT solution or whatever it is that your knowledge base is. A lot of times we see companies have a capability statement, and part of it is professional engineering services, and then it's landscaping, and then it's cybersecurity, and they're basically all over the board, and they're just being reactive versus proactive. So again, focus on what you do and do it well and be known just for that. Number 2, you want to identify 2 or 3 agencies where you think you have the best chance to win. And how can you do that? Sometimes, particularly if you're a small business, you can reverse engineer by looking at the SBA scorecard results, what agencies did really well with awarding contracts to companies that are that have the same set aside as you, whether it's 8A, women-owned, veteran-owned, HUBZone, or any of the rest. Look at FPDS, the Federal Procurement Data System, fpds.gov. It's a public website that anybody and everybody can go onto. It doesn't cost you anything, just your time, but it makes sense to do some homework so that you can narrow your focus and not be responding to every RFP that's out there, because that's simply foolish. So once you've narrowed which agencies you want to focus on, then you want to market specifically to the opportunity, not market generally. So how do you market to the opportunity? You're going to be looking at the budget forecast, the acquisition forecast. What is the government buying? When is this particular opportunity coming up for recompete? When is that contract ending? And start getting in there and building relationships and showing that your past performance is relevant to this new or to this opportunity that is either coming up because it's graduated from sources sought to RFI to RFP, or because it's something that's coming up, like I said, for a recompete. Number 4, your website. If your business, if your company is entirely focused on just selling to the government, then it's usually pretty apparent by your website, whether it be through photos that you have on there, the content, the language, you're speaking kind of the government language, or if your business is doing some government work, but not all, then hopefully you do have a section that's specifically laid out for government, where you highlight perhaps your contract vehicles, your set-asides, your NAICS code, your DUNS number, and all of the basic government information. And make sure that that is easy to find, because when the government does conduct market research per some of the FAR requirements, when they're looking for new businesses to help them with mission essential projects, sometimes they will end up on your website. So make sure again that it's easy for them to understand that you do sell to the government and that you are the go-to for whatever it is your specific industry focus is. Contract vehicles, you want to make it easy for the government to get to you. And if you are lucky enough to have that face-to-face conversation with the government, or over the phone or via email, a lot of times they will ask, how do we get to you? This could be through a GSA schedule, maybe Seaport E, NASA SOUP, or any of the other agency-specific contract vehicles. So whether you have one or you've got a partner that has one, you certainly want to make sure that you've got that in place, and that you have that in place kind of alongside or in parallel with your marketing efforts. And you want to be attractive to the customer. So if your customer is not using the GSA schedule, then I would say do not pursue that. How do you know if they use the GSA schedule or not? There's, again, in this sector that is so unique, and there's so much information that is out there that gives you a competitive advantage if you just take the time to do some homework and look up this information on FPDS, on the GSA site, and some of the others that are out there, USA Spending or the specific ssq.gsa.gov, to really drill down and understand where the money is flowing, but more specifically, how. Is it going through contract vehicles? Is it going out for bid? Is it going sole source? Is it going set aside to women-owned, veteran-owned, HUBZone? And then you kind of can back into it. Number 6, kind of in unison with number 5 here. 5 was the contract vehicles, 6 is the set-asides. Again, reverse engineer here. Look at the data on fpds.gov to learn how are these contracts being awarded. Look at the scorecard that SBA puts out and pick 2 agencies that maybe have the propensity to award contracts to the same set-aside that you have, and then maybe pick somebody that needs to get their grade up. Number 7, media. Whether it's social media or just general media, you certainly want to take advantage and leverage this, whether it's press releases about new contracts that you've won, webinars about services or products that you provide, any innovation, anything that you're doing with the government. Push out a newsletter and subscribe to newsletters for various government publications, attend events, create your own events, attend conferences for all of the government industry associations, whether it's CCAF, FCA, NCMA, and all the rest. You're going to meet federal government people at these conferences and events. You shake the right hands. You build partnerships that are eventually going to form perhaps a mentor-protege or a joint venture or a subcontracting relationship. So again, don't be shy about potentially having your own event and building your own newsletter of subscribers. Social media, I'll go back to that real quick. You certainly will see a lot more federal government employees on both LinkedIn and Facebook. Most agencies have their own Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn kind of business or home pages. But then the actual employees and the folks that are fairly high up are also active on these sites. So take advantage of that and connect with them. This is number 8, which is the last tip here, and we could probably go on for another 8 or 800 more, but the email auto signature, that's always my pet peeve as far as people not having perhaps the GSA logo that's then going to link over to their GSA price page, not having their DUNS number, cage code, NAICS code, contract vehicles, and even just a government point of contact listed there. If you're going to sell to the federal government, you really need to kind of speak the language and look and act like a government contractor. And all of these pieces here, the auto signature, the business cards, your capability statement, any other marketing collateral, should all have this very basic information on it. You make it easy for the customer to understand what you do, to find you, to know that you have the contract vehicles in place. Make it a layup. Conclusions. Marketing is obviously just only one piece of the whole selling to the government puzzle. It's not easy, and there's not just one component that's going to get you the sales. It's not just your capability statement. It's not just your sales reps. It's not just your website. It's not just your contract vehicles. It's going to be all of these things put together day in, day out, going to the events, the conferences, staying abreast of industry trends, of government challenges, and coming up with solutions to help them. Partnering with companies that perhaps you thought were competitors that perhaps bring something different to the table, whether it be a contract vehicle, a set-aside, or some other just capability that perhaps complements your company's. You want to make sure that your marketing strategy evolves as your company evolves and grows. And also keep abreast of government trends and challenges so you can then market to them and to those opportunities, to their challenges, which will be opportunities. And again, just make it easy for them to find you, work with you, find you, whether it be your website, linking to your contract vehicle pricing. Make it easy for them to trust you and build relationships. They are risk adverse, so again, they want known entities with that past performance, and that obviously takes time. If you've got questions about this or any other federal government contracting matters, please contact us at the phone number listed here on the screen, or you can always send us an email. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope to see you again for another webinar soon.